In this spot, man, right here, I just got a call from Terry Fontenot, and he told me to tell you that a lot of you are mad that we trading next year first round pick for this year first round pick. A model photo picture, man. Photo picture, man. You up in the bird bath and wash your stinking name. Maricon. So, after the first round of the NFL draft, a lot of Falcons fans' prayers have been answered like sweet manna falling from the sky. They have finally gotten them a UGA player with Jalon Walker with their 15th pick. And then they doubled down and traded up in the first round to draft James Pearce Jr. from Tennessee as an edge player as well. Now, some of the so-called experts out here are kind of clowning the Falcons for what they did, and they think it's weird, but I actually kind of like the picks. For one, our pass rush was completely absent last year. And later in the games, you could see on camera how Matthew Judon and even Arnold Ebiketie at times were kind of gassed because we didn't have enough guys that we could just throw out there. It tells me, for one, that the Falcons want to go with more of a platoon approach this year with their pass rush. It also tells me that they were probably really high on James Pearce Jr., but when Jalon Walker was available at 15, they just couldn't pass him up because they looked at him as a just must-have talent on this team. Now, the way that I think that they could actually utilize both of these players is that they could specialize them a lot more. Both of these guys, they're also big problems for opposing blockers for different reasons, though. Walker's really great with his hands. He's really good at shedding blocks. He has really good bend to his hip and detaching from blocks, even when you think that he's 100% blocked. On the other hand, Pearce is a lot better with setting you up with the two moves that he has, with his outside and his inside move, being able to redirect and kind of break down at the point of tackle once he does disengage from blockers. Both of these guys are really good in space. Jalon Walker is much more of a sure tackler and more of a blitzer. Whereas if I look at Pearce, I would say that one of his biggest weaknesses is sometimes he does tend to miss tackles on some of the obvious sacks. Sometimes he can get a little bit dominated by some of those guys on the interior, but he's not afraid to mix it up, and they both like contact. Specifically with Jalon Walker, he comes downhill really fast, and he's able to fill on a lot of plays, and that's why I think they're going to play him at linebacker a lot more. We actually had a lot of missed tackles in our front seven, both between our edge guys and at the linebacker position last year. That's why we brought in Devon Diablo, who's a guy who's a short tackler, but he's not as much of a blitzer. I believe we're going to be able to use Jalon Walker, probably moving around as a pass rusher on some of the later downs, blitz him and try to just use him as a wild card type of guy. And I also like that he was able to rush from the outside on both sides in college as well, too. That's going to definitely fare well for him in the NFL, being able to use his speed and make defenses guess where you're going to be able to play him at. Ultimately, he's more of an amped up version of what we could do with Caden Ellis, actually. And he's better in coverage as well, too, and just a more well-rounded athlete with better instincts. That's what I like about both of these players as well. They have both good instincts. Jalon Walker's a little bit light in the ass. I did say that in all fairness on my last video, but I think we're going to have a problem with him being able to tackle and being able to be good against the run, though, because he is a guy that was really good against the run with UGA last year. One of the places that he actually shined a lot was in the run game. And so that's why I like us doubling down with a pass rusher as well, too. But that way we don't have to commit to him just being a full-time edge rusher. But having a guy who's more of a hybrid than a tweener, and what I mean by that, a guy who could do all things, not a guy who's just good at some things and not good at other things. I think he actually stands out against the run and play at linebacker if you need him as well, too. Because they already have Leonard Floyd there as an edge rusher, and they also have Ebiketie, and they have Trice coming into camp this year as well, too, who's, for all intents and purposes, is kind of still in his rookie year. You add these two young guys, and that just shows they want to have playmakers that they can move around. The Falcons want to be able to play a lot more multiple defenses as well, too. I think it's good when you have edge players and guys at the second or mid level that can actually blitz and affect the game from more of a wild card perspective as well. What I like about James Pearce Jr. is that he's real tall, twitchy, and he has a lot of range. At 6'5", there's a lot on his frame that they're hoping they can bulk up. Right now, he's only at like maybe 245. I'm believing that they hope they can get him around maybe 260, and he can still maintain some of that speed and space that he has. When you look at the tape, he's a guy that they were able to move around the linebackers sometimes, drop back into coverage every now and then. He has a killer first step, and at times he's able to time up the snap count. And when he does, he's a problem for tackles. It almost looks like he's running offside. He's definitely a speed rusher. He's got moves around the corner, and he can also stop, replant, counter off of that, and go back to the inside. Now, he's definitely going to have to develop a lot more if he wants to be a consistent edge rusher in the league. But what I like about this is that they can use him on later downs as well as just an edge guy. And use some of the veterans on the early downs, so that they're not getting fooled on some of those plays. He actually has a body type that they compared a little bit to Leonard Floyd as well, too. So that's why I think they were really eyeballing him. Being able to trade back up into the first round, if he is that guy that you think he is going to be infinitely great for us. But we had a lot of guys who just did their job last year, but we didn't have enough guys that were playmakers that were consistently on the field. Even if they were showing sparks and hints at times, we didn't have enough guys that we could keep throwing at offenses. Falcons already have some veteran guys up front that they just signed, and guys who are already on the team that can show these guys how to become better pass rushers and how to play in the trenches. And it also tells me that the Falcons believe in us having a better draft position this year than we will next year. They actually believe that we're going to do something with the roster that we have. Now, a lot of people think that it was a hefty price to give up. We moved up into the first round, gained a third rounder that we didn't have, and now we still have our fourth rounder. I actually like what the Falcons are doing with that strategy. Win now. Forget them picks, man. You don't know what next year's going to be like. Hell, Terry and Raheem don't know that their jobs are going to be secure for next year if they don't win this year. And this league is a win-now league. Another thing that I think fans need to always consider as well, too, they're always talking about the longevity of the future. These guys are 4-year rentals, and you have to look at it like that ultimately. The life expectancy of most players in the NFL across the board is not even 4 years. So if you can get 4 good seasons out of a player, that's great. Anything beyond that is icing on the cake because there's always a new class of guys. Now, I'm not saying that you just go balls to the wall and you don't think about that once you have guys in place and everything. But when you get these draft picks, these guys only have a 4-year shelf life ultimately because you can have a guy that balls out and you got to let him go in free agency. So, all right, guys, that's our show for today. If you like the content we're dropping, hit that like and subscribe button below. Stay tuned. I'll hit you guys with my analysis after the third round. And if we trade into the second round, I'll let you know what I think about that as well. Falcons Bird Bath, SEMO, Point Game Official. Checking out, baby. Peace.